we need to be prepared if Cardano does break below this area of support. Today we're going to be doing a Cardano price analysis and update. So hopping onto the technicals of Cardano. Now, it may look a little bit complicated right now, but bear with me, I'll explain. These two lines here that I'm going to make purple. If we see here, this is forming an ascending triangle. We see first bounce here, bounce, comes down, bounce, goes back up to this level. Can't really see it right now. Let's zoom in. Bounces right up to that level, then comes back down, bounces again to the upside, and we have around 5 touch points, thus confirming that it is an ascending triangle. Now, an ascending triangle is a very bullish pattern. In the long term, a breakout of an ascending triangle can give us a really, really good price target. If we were to estimate roughly what our price target would be, take the high point and the low point, and we would put it right at the break of the apex. It would give us a breakout target of just over $2. It's not bad. But what will happen in the short term? Do we see Cardano perhaps hitting $1? Do we potentially see Cardano breaking down and hitting perhaps this moving average here or even lower? Well, taking a look at our technical analysis here, I think we do have a very bullish scenario up ahead. The levels of support here act as barriers for price movements. We can see this teal moving average here, and the price of Cardano has, yes, been able to hold above the 20-period moving average. This is a good sign, it's healthy. Secondly, the moving average is in conjunction with this level of support. Now, this is known as an area of confluence, when we have not only one indicator pointing to that area, but two. We have our moving average, and we have our support level at $1.15. We just bounced off of that level not too long ago, thus making this a very, very strong area of support. Now, let's say the price does dip below. Now, this green area you see here, this illustrates my buy region. It illustrates an area in which there is strong level of support. Yes, it is under the 20-day moving average, but we have a lot of support forming, multiple touch points along this $9 area. And it also becomes an area of confluence, not only with this support line at $1.10, but this trend support line as well. So we have an area of confluence around this region here. If price were to continue to dip down, I think this would be a very good time to accumulate more Cardano. But if that doesn't happen, I don't think this would be a bad price point either to start accumulating Cardano, considering it is above the 20-day moving average. Keeping that in mind, Cardano has various bullish events happening. Now, if we were to pull up a timeline, this is on CoinMarketCal. Cardano is being listed on Coineo tomorrow. That could be bullish. And then we have the Cardano 360 update. Now, one thing I did find on Twitter, on Charles Hawkinson's Twitter, is we see this here. We should have a tentative Alonso date at the March Cardano 360 program. That is a pretty big announcement to me. What is the Alonso? Alonso is the introduction of smart contracts on the Cardano platform. I think that's when we'll really see some pretty volatile price action this coming Thursday. Now, before my previous videos, I did say ADA Pay was already announced, but I guess that didn't happen yet, and I think this could also be pretty big. And of course, we have the decentralized blockchain. So these are all pretty bullish announcements for Cardano. And I think going strong into Monday morning, once it gets to around 9:30 US time, I think Cardano will be okay. I don't think it'll necessarily downtrend. Now I have another reason for that. If we look at the futures, we see that the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are up already on the futures markets. Now this could be a good indication that the stocks on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 are going to open green Monday morning. Typically when tech stocks go up, Bitcoin also follows. Another thing I'd like to point out is the stimulus. Now we see on March 17, banks and unions had a deadline to make the funds available for people who withdraw at 9 a.m. local time. Now, not everybody got their stimulus checks on March 17th, some got them earlier, but for people that did not receive their stimulus checks yet, this is the information we have right now. We see that subsequent rounds of payments will occur via an ACH settlement scheduled each Wednesday. So, we can expect that this coming Wednesday will also have some buying pressure of its own. And I think that, in conjunction with the announcements happening on Thursday, will be incredibly bullish for the entire crypto space as a whole. Now, what could happen in a bearish environment for Cardano? I think first we'll have to address how Bitcoin is doing. Generally, the crypto space follow whatever Bitcoin is doing in the market, and if Bitcoin were to break below this trend line and perhaps go back down to around 52,000, then maybe we could potentially see Cardano hit back around dollar levels, maybe even under $1. But right now, it seems to be holding this trend line pretty strong, and it's also holding above the 20-day moving average. So we do see a triple area of confluence here, right? We see the trendline support, we see a support level of 55K, and we see the moving average. Triple confirmation. This is a very strong indication of support at this level. I'm not too worried about it. We also see here that there's a long wick indicating price rejection at these lower levels and the market wanting the price to shoot back up. So I think we should be okay for this coming week by the looks of the Bitcoin chart patterns, but we must always be prepared as a trader for the downside. We must always think in terms of probabilities. Now on the Cardano chart, if it were to break below the level, if it were to just come down to this level, I think we could potentially see a bounce occurring in this region before going back up to the upside. I think that could happen worst case scenario if we retain our bull trend on Bitcoin, meaning if we retain levels above the $52,000 area. However, we need to be prepared if Cardano does break below this area of support. What could happen potentially is we break below these levels and find our support region between the $3 and the 97 cents area, which is also in conjunction with this moving average here. That's what I think could happen if Bitcoin takes a little bit of a dip this week. But yeah, as of right now, we must remain aware and react to price action. Right now we're just looking to find support in these regions. And if the price does dip down, it could be a good opportunity to accumulate more Bitcoin or Cardano. But of course, this video is about Cardano, and if the price does dip below these levels, I think this could be a very good opportunity to accumulate some more right before the big announcements start pouring in. I'm still very bullish on Cardano. The announcements this week are going to be crazy. And we can't forget that Goguen is on the verge of being released as well, end of March, beginning of April. So all in all, things are looking pretty optimistic for Cardano in the long run. Whereas in the immediate short term, please be wary, please be vigilant. We do have potential for the upside, but we also do have potential for the downside, and we must always be prepared for that as traders. Now, in terms of a longer perspective of Cardano, where do I think the price could be? I do think we could see the $2 I think we could definitely see the $2 price target I mentioned earlier in the video. I believe it was $2.14. And if it does bring us to a price target of $2.14, that would mean that the market cap of Cardano would roughly about double. Maybe a little bit less than double, but I think that can be pretty realistic within the next couple of months going into the summertime. I think that'll wrap up today's video. If you guys like the content, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell notification. I really appreciate the support on this channel. I will be releasing a beginner technical analysis series for cryptocurrencies. If you guys know someone who's looking to get into trading but just doesn't know where to find tutorials or the right information, I know how challenging it can be, especially starting out as a trader. What information to take into consideration, what's important, what's not important. There's so much noise out there. There's so much oversaturation of information available. So I'm creating a series that will really narrow down, in my opinion, what the fundamentals are for technical analysis, and making it as short and concise as possible so that they can take that and use that as a foundation to build themselves up as a trader. That'll wrap up for today's video, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.